welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. The stage is all set for the much-awaited opposition meeting that's going to be held tomorrow in Patna. Leaders of at least 18 political parties are set to participate in this key meeting that is going to be held at Bihar Chief Minister's residence. Remember, Nitish Kumar is the one that's heralding this entire uniting opposition exercise ahead of 2024. Mamata Banerjee, Mehbooba Mufti, Arvind Kejriwal and among others will be attending. Some of them have already reached Patna and many others, including Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, will be reaching Patna tomorrow. Over the next half an hour, we are going to get you a complete roundup of what's to be expected. What are the chinks in the armor of the opposition? All of that we'll take you step by step over the next half an hour. But take a look at what the kind of reactions are coming to the fore. An optimistic opposition looking forward to find common ground to defeat the BJP in 2024.
जब से हम लोग साथ आए हैं, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश जी और राष्ट्रीय जनता दल हम लोगों में महागठबंधन हुआ, तब से हम लोगों का प्रयास था कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा दलों को हम लोग जोड़ने का प्रयास करें। और ये मौका जो है आया है, सब लोग आएंगे, अपनी बात को जो है रखेंगे। कोई इससे इनकार नहीं कर सकता, चाहे प्रशासनिक एक्सपीरियंस हो, चाहे आपका सामाजिक एक्सपीरियंस हो, चाहे आपका गवर्नेंस का एक्सपीरियंस, सारी चीज़ें अगर आप लोग मिलाकर के देखें तो कई विपक्ष के ऐसे नेता हैं जो मोदी जी से ज़्यादा जो है अनुभवी हैं।
I cannot give you this reply right now because tomorrow is a meeting. Let us discuss the meeting. Whatever they will discuss, I think discussion will be very good and collectively. But I feel that public of the country, to save the country from disaster, all the people collectively will vote against BJP.
From Bihar, Congress people are coming to welcome Rahul Gandhi ji, AICC President Kharge ji, and this is going to be historic in all respects. So they have to realize what else they can say. But they experienced the massive problem they are going to face. Because if all these leaders unite and come forward, next to 2024 election, they will come down to 100. I am so much sure about this. You will yourself realize after 23rd that they all will fight together and we will finish BJP in next elections.
Now, there are several parties that are going to be part of this particular meeting tomorrow. At least 18 are on board. But can they actually come together and find a common cause? Can they find middle ground? Many say, and what we're learning from our sources within many opposition parties, is that social justice could be that cause which prepares to be the glue for this anti-BJP bloc that forms for 2024. Remember, Rahul Gandhi had given a call for a nationwide caste census. That sort of started a domino effect. The Congress believes that caste census and that particular call ensured their victory in Karnataka in the recently held elections. Taking cue from Bihar, now Rajasthan has also announced a caste census. Remember, parties from Bihar have also been calling for a national caste census and that call has been made in the parliament as well. The opposition, including the Congress party, is now looking to remove the 50% cap. That is going to be the next step as far as reservation based on caste is concerned. Remember, in Karnataka, the Congress had planned or had promised to lift that cap and push the reservation based on caste and based on communities to 75%. DMK, another Congress ally, another opposition party that is going to be present in the meeting tomorrow, they too have demanded reservation based on caste percentage. This is what we are learning from our sources, and Pallavi Ghosh, senior editor, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details of what she's gathered from within the opposition parties. Now, Pallavi, we are seeing that the only common cause perhaps is that these parties want to edge out the BJP come 2024. But can they keep their personal aspirations and ambitions aside to do that?
Previous attempts of trying to keep their personal aspirations and ambitions aside have not really worked. And, you know, you're already seeing the fallout really today, Poonam, when earlier today we were reporting that the Aam Aadmi Party does expect the Congress Party to support it on the ordinance issue. Now, if indeed the AAP takes up this issue at that closed-door meeting, I think the Congress Party will be in a fix because there's a Punjab and a Delhi unit which clearly doesn't want the Congress to support the AAP on any issue. But on the other hand, for the larger goal of opposition unity, it becomes very very difficult situation for them. But I think the biggest challenge really will be this proposal, which is believed to be coming up, that at least on 400 to 450 seats, there should be a just straight fight between the BJP and the opposition, which is the opposition must put up a single candidate. Now, how are you going to work that out in states like Punjab, in Bengal, where clearly the Congress party also wants to position itself? Will they agree to being eased out, where only, say, a Trinamool Congress sets up a candidate in Bengal and a AAP in Punjab? So this is obviously going to be a very, very tricky issue, even if for argument's sake, Poonam, this time round, they managed to brush it under the carpet. But how long will this really truce last?
Is it going to be a temporary and uneasy alliance, so to say? And even if that does happen, even if they do come together for 2024, how long is it going to last? Is it going to last the span of the next 5 years? That's also something that we will have to keep an eye out on. Pallavi, do stay on with me, because over the course of this particular edition, we want to take our viewers through all the different angles that are coming to the fore, all the chinks in the armor of the opposition, as one would like to put it. Now, the Congress in Bihar is extending a historic welcome to Rahul Gandhi, who is going to be present at this particular meeting tomorrow. Rahul Gandhi, in fact, is slated to address around 15,000 Congress workers and leaders in Patna before he attends that crucial opposition meeting. There are several banners and hoardings and posters that have come up. The Congress has always positioned itself as the principal opposition party, as the one that is going to be at the helm of such an anti-BJP bloc. That is something that is not acceptable to many others, including Mamata Banerjee and the TMC. So how this is going to pan out tomorrow, or are we just going to see a goody two-shoes picture, so to say, as far as the optics go, we'll have to wait and watch out for. But when Rahul Gandhi touches down in Patna tomorrow, this is what awaits him.
Rahul Gandhi is going to arrive here in Patna tomorrow at around 10 o'clock, and here he is going to come in Sadakat Ashram, where you can see the preparation is in full swing, and the stage is all set, where Rahul Gandhi is going to address the party workers here at Sadakat Ashram. After the arrival of Rahul Gandhi, now this whole place is being sanitized and is being renovated for his arrival, where he is going to address party workers from this stage, which we are seeing that the preparation is in full stage. Preparations के बारे में क्या कहोगे?
Basically, see, after a Bharat Jodo Yatra, historic walk, our leader Rahul Gandhi is coming first time to Bihar. So it is our responsibility and duty to give him a grand welcome. And with respect to that, all the workers are very enthusiastic. 18 Mohabbat ki dukan, from where you can see the big canopy of our leaders, and from there we are coming to Sadakat around 10 a.m. He will reach here. He will go to the first garden. He will have the flag hosting. Then he will inaugurate the Ambedkar statue, and then he'll come back here and he'll address here.
Now, the Aam Aadmi Party is another party that is going to be a part of this particular meeting. Arvind Kejriwal, the national convener of the party and the chief minister of Delhi, is going to be present in Patna. This also comes at a time when Aam Aadmi Party is trying to form a bloc of itself to unite the opposition parties against an ordinance that gives more powers to the centre here in the national capital. Sources are now telling CNN News 18 that this issue is going to come up tomorrow in the opposition meeting. It's an issue that has deeply divided the opposition parties, especially the Congress. We're now learning from our sources that if the Congress does not announce its stand against the ordinance, the Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal, has threatened to walk out of the meeting. So is a stage set, so to say, for a showdown between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress? Because it's a tricky situation for the Congress party. Initially, we had Mallikarjun Kharge himself come out and said that this ordinance that was brought in by the central government that suppresses the powers of the Delhi government is not acceptable. That was later overturned because many within the Congress party, including the Punjab and the Delhi unit, were against supporting the Aam Aadmi Party. So this is something that the Congress finds itself in a catch-22 position. We are getting more information now that's trickling in as far as the big opposition meeting tomorrow is concerned. Sources are now telling your channel that Rahul Gandhi, along with Mallikarjun Kharge, is going to be landing at about 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Like we said, he is going to be addressing party workers, party leaders before he heads to the big opposition meeting. The discussion in the opposition meeting is broadly going to be on 3 issues. That's what we're now learning, that the Congress has decided what its agenda is going to be. There are 3 issues that are going to be taken up by Congress and by other allies in this particular opposition meeting. One, of course, is an ideological stance and finding common ground on that. issues to be taken up by the opposition parties in the run-up to the elections, not just 2024, but the 5 states as well, and how to sort out those states where the Congress or the other opposition parties are in direct competition with each other. So these are some of the issues that the Congress has decided that it wants to lay down on the table and find a solution with all of the others who are going to be present tomorrow. Sharon, my colleague, getting us more details from what she's gathered from her sources within the Congress party. Yes, Sharon.
Well, Poonam, there are going to be, of course, 3 broad points that are going to be discussed as far as the Congress party is concerned. One, their priority is the defeat of BJP in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And what is going to be the common stance of all these opposition parties is something that is going to be checked by the Congress party. Also, they are in fact going to discuss about the issues when it comes to Congress party directly, competing with the other opposition parties in states like West Bengal, in states like Kerala, where the CPIM and the Congress are in direct fight with each other, and also when we talk about Delhi, where the Congress is in direct fight with the Aam Aadmi Party. So, of course, while the Congress has decided their agenda, there is going to be other opposition parties who are coming up with their own agenda, like Congress. We are seeing that the Aam Aadmi Party is going to ensure that they want to put this idea forth, that they want the Delhi ordinance to be discussed as the first part of the agenda. They want that all the opposition parties should stand together and extend their support as far as the Delhi ordinance is concerned. Now, what is going to be, of course, difficult for the Congress party is what is going to be their stand, because so far we have seen, when we talk about these 17 to 18 opposition parties that are going to be part of this meeting, all of them have, in fact, except for the Congress party, have extended their support. When we have seen Mamata Banerjee, we have seen MK Stalin as well, we have seen Sitaram Yechuri, we have seen other party like KCR as well, in fact, extending their support to the Aam Aadmi Party as far as the Delhi ordinance issue is concerned. But when it comes to the Congress party, their stand has in fact been ambiguous. They have not really given any stand so far. So whether there will be pressure built on them to give a final answer, because Poonam, like you mentioned, yes, Mallikarjun Kharge did condemn the Delhi ordinance, but at the same time, the Delhi unit of the Congress party and the Punjab unit of the Congress party has been against the support that is going to be extended to the Aam Aadmi Party. So the Delhi unit and the Punjab unit have made it very clear that they don't want any sort of alliance, or they don't want any sort of support to be extended to the Aam Aadmi Party as far as the Delhi ordinance is concerned. So, of course, we have to see how the Congress party deal with this. This is going to be, of course, a tricky situation. But the atmosphere in Patna, of course, is in fact very upbeat. You can see with the kind of posters that have been across the street, across Patna, as far as the opposition party is concerned. On my left side, you can see the posters of Akhilesh Yadav, MK Stalin, Mallikarjun Kharge, welcoming them to Patna. On the other side, this is right outside the BJP office, where if I ask my camera person to zoom and show you, परिवारवाद एवं भ्रष्टाचार में डूबी पार्टियों का सम्मेलन 23 जून 2023. So clearly poster war going on. Leaders are in fact now trickling in to Patna. We have already seen Derek O'Brien, Mamata Banerjee already arriving in Patna. Tomorrow Rahul Gandhi along with Mallikarjun Kharge will be arriving here before the opposition party. Rahul Gandhi is going to address the Congress party workers in Patna.
So the Congress definitely is positioning itself as someone that is going to set the agenda, not just for the meeting tomorrow, but also for the anti-BJP bloc come 2024. Now, Nitish Kumar is the one who called for this particular meeting. There was some back and forth as far as dates were concerned, but eventually 23rd June is what was decided. All opposition parties, after much resistance, decided that 23rd June is going to be the day when all of them are going to come together. But can Nitish Kumar, the Bihar Chief Minister, actually bring this opposition bloc together? Because clearly it looks like he's having some troubles even keeping his own allies together. For example, the Hindustani Awam Morcha, they withdrew support from the Bihar government. The alliance was broken just 2 days after the letter of withdrawal of support was given to the governor, to the government. Jitan Ram Manjhi and his party joined hands with the NDA. Another allied is the RLD, which is going to be missing from the opposition meeting. Now, Jayant Chaudhary and sources within the RLD have come out and said there is absolutely nothing amiss as far as him not going for this particular event, because he had a pre-planned engagement, which is why he couldn't give, which is why he couldn't be in attendance for this particular opposition meeting. But The fact that Jayant Chaudhary is going to be missing from this meeting also comes amid a rift between RLD and the Samajwadi Party. So what exactly is brewing there? Let me get more information coming in from my colleague Saurabh now, who's getting us the details as far as Nitish Kumar and his strategy goes. Now, Saurabh, Nitish Kumar, two allies seem to be having some difference of opinion. One has already quit the alliance. The RLD also seems on shaky ground. Can Nitish Kumar then be the person who actually manages to bring in the other 18 parties on board and find common cause?
See, this is the biggest question what the opposition parties must be concerned of, and it was a major jolt of Hindustan Awam Morcha withdrawing from Mahagathbandhan here in Bihar just 2 days before this meeting was scheduled. Well, first on 7th and then on 12th, and now the meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, which is certainly going to happen because several leaders of different states have already reached. Mehbooba Mufti from Kashmir and Mamata Banerjee have already reached here, and in just a few after a few minutes, maybe Kejriwal is going to arrive at this place. This is the area where the leaders are going inside. This is the route to CM Kejriwal's residence. Also, the state guest house is situated where these leaders are going to stay tonight, and also the leaders who are coming from 17 parties, because the 18th party RLD has declared that it is not going to come. The Jayant Chaudhary has said that because of his personal reasons he is not going to attend this meeting, but 17 parties will certainly attend the meeting, and Rahul Gandhi is scheduled to come tomorrow at around 10 o'clock. Then he will address to his party workers and party leaders at Sadakat Ashram, which is the Congress office, but as of now the security arrangements have been beefed up. And also we see the posters are thronged throughout the city. Security arrangements are there. The routes are diverted. Only the VIP vehicles can enter inside this route, and also the media personals are being stopped here, and after this point we cannot go inside. So this kind of security arrangement has been made. The leaders are going to stay in the state guest house as well as some prime hotels in Patna, and just after half an hour, maybe Kejriwal and Stalin is also going. They are going to arrive here, and they will certainly participate in the meeting, which was a which is considered as a very key, important meeting for the united opposition. Nitish Kumar must be thumping his pat himself that he has finally arranged all the political parties to come together and sit on one table to discuss the opposition meet, which is going to be held tomorrow.
Yes.
So there was a major jolt when Hindustan Awam Morcha withdrew its support. Also, we are learning that RLD is not coming, and in the past also, Purnima, we have seen the supporters and the friends of Nitish Kumar, such as former Minister RCP Singh and his close associate Upendra Kushwaha, who belongs to Koiri and Kushwaha community. They all have left Nitish Kumar, and the caste decoding here is done where the BJP is garnering support of Koiris and Kurmis as well as Pasmanda Muslims. So the challenge will be as far as the opposition unity is concerned, what happens tomorrow, whether a core committee will be formed or not, whether the decision for
absolutely,
the seat
and if there is an outcome at all, if there is consensus on anything, that is also something that we will have to wait and watch out for. Do stay on with me, Saurabh, because there's more information that is now trickling in. Mamata Banerjee, the chief of the TMC, is already in Patna. In fact, she's just met Lalu Prasad Yadav, is what we're learning, and she addressed the media post that. She says, unfortunately, she won't be able to give much of a picture right now, but we will fight like a collective family, is what she says, putting up a front of a united opposition 24 hours ahead of the meeting tomorrow.
आराम से 1 मिनट रुकिए आराम से दीदी बोल रही है आराम से दीदी क्या बातचीत हो लालू जी से मोबाइल नीचे कर ले मोबाइल नीचे बोलने दीजिए मोबाइल नीचे करो ना भाई मैं कहना चाहूंगी जनता को हम धन्यवाद देने चाहती हूँ कि बिहार में आके मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगता है। बिहार का जो मधुबनी है, बिहार को जो नालंदा है, बिहार का जो मिठाई है, हम इसको बहुत पसंद करते हैं और लालू जी को हम बहुत इज्जत करते हैं। मधुबनी का साथ, राबड़ी देवी का साथ, तेजस्वी का साथ, लालू जी का साथ हम मिट करके बहुत खुश हुए हैं इसी के लिए कि लालू जी देश में एक बहुत सीनियर लीडर है। बेचारा बहुत दिन जेल में उसको भेजा, हॉस्पिटल में थे, उसको तबीयत ठीक नहीं था, हम लोगों ने बहुत दुखी थे। आज उसको देख के हम खुश हुआ है और आज देख के बात करके हमको ये लगा लालू जी अभी भी बहुत तगड़ा है और बीजेपी का खिलाफ में अच्छा से लड़ सकता है। सो हमारा पूरा हम पहले बिहार में आके इसी के लिए लालू जी को मीट किया।
दीदी आपका बहुत मधुर संबंध रहा है लालू जी के साथ, बहुत मधुर संबंध रहा है आपका और लालू जी का। जी
ऑलवेज आपका पता है
जी,
एक दिन लालू जी संसद में भाषण दे रहा था। जब मैं जब हम भी एमपी था, लालू जी भी एमपी था, लालू जी भाषण दे रहा था। प्याज का भाव बढ़ गया, आलू का भाव बढ़ गया, सबको भाव बढ़ गया। तो मैंने बोला राबड़ी जी का भाव क्या है? बोलता है सबसे ज्यादा है।
That was Mamata Banerjee there talking about the relationship that she shares with Lalu Prasad Yadav, but also setting the stage for what's to come tomorrow as far as the opposition meeting goes. Kamalika, my colleague, joining us, getting us more the details of what the TMC strategy is going to be like. Now, Kamalika, it'll be interesting to see because just a few days ago, Mamata Banerjee had lashed out in a public forum against the Congress party. So when the Congress and the TMC come face to face tomorrow trying to find a common ground, whether they can actually do so, that's something that we'll have to wait and watch out for.
Definitely, but at the same time, Mamata Banerjee, while she was going from Calcutta, she has spoken of unity, and there also in Bihar, she has said that the fight will be like a family, a collective fight. Now, according to what we are getting from the TMC insiders and what Mamata Banerjee's, from time immemorial, the theory which Mamata Banerjee has put forward is that whoever is strong in whichever area, that person, that opposition party will actually have the fight on a one-on-one basis with BJP. Now in Lok Sabha, obviously there are more than 150 seats, rather near about 200 seats, where Congress and BJP is 1:1. So there, obviously, they are not going to intrude. But at the same time, like in Bengal, TMC will not give any space to Congress. That's very clear. And if you see the Panchayat polls and if you see the bad relationship of TMC and Congress in this ground in Bengal, there lies the entire story that nationally, though the TMC has never said that they will not support Congress, but they will not allow the Congress to work as big brother. So the TMC's theory will be that we will fight together, we will fight like a collective family, but at the same time, whoever is strong there, whoever can take BJP in a better stride, that party should get that one ticket, one-on-one fight. So one candidate against BJP will be that candidate, whoever is strong in whichever area, like Akhilesh Yadav in Uttar Pradesh, like Mamata Banerjee in Bengal.
Yes.
So that is what they have no problem. They are fighting in the ground in Bengal, but nationally in 200 seats, like in Pondicherry or wherever in Tamil Nadu, where in Karnataka, where TMC is not there. There they don't have any problem in supporting Congress. But the relationship that is there with Congress in back home in Bengal, that is worse. So whether it will be a photo opportunity or this thing will really dig down, that is to be seen. But Mamata Banerjee's theory will be whoever is strong in whichever area.
And that's a formula that the TMC has floated time and again. But is that formula acceptable to someone like the Congress that has a pan-India presence, that wants to fight pan-India? Are the seats something that they are ready to give up on? That's something that we will find out. Perhaps not tomorrow immediately after after the first meeting. Those differences will have to be ironed out for the opposition as well. But I thank all my colleagues, Komalika, Saurabh, Pallavi and Sharon, for getting us the latest on this big story that we will be tracking not just today, but all through tomorrow as well. Let's listen in to some more reactions that are also coming in, with the BJP ridiculing the idea of a united opposition.
ये कांग्रेस पार्टी पूरा जोर लगा रही है राहुल बाबा को प्रधानमंत्री बनाने के लिए। मैं देश भर में, पूरे देश भर में दौरा कर रहा हूं। ये 17वां राज्य है मेरा। जहां जहां जाता हूं मैं हर जगह पूछता हूं कि अगला प्रधानमंत्री कौन बनेगा। आपको भी पूछूंगा, जरा मीडिया से देश सुने ऐसे बताना। भैया बताओ, 2024 में इस देश का प्रधानमंत्री कौन बनेगा? जरा जोर से बोलो, कौन बनेगा? जरा जोर से बोलो, कौन बनेगा?
Meeting really an initial step for building unity on the opposition side to fight against the BJP regime on 2024. This is what we are expecting. 23rd is the good beginning, is going to be a good beginning for opposition unity.
ये महागठबंधन की ये बैठक हो रही है, जो परिवारवादी और भ्रष्टाचार में डूबी हुई पार्टियां हैं, उनका ये महासम्मेलन हो रहा है। लेकिन देखिए, सबसे बड़ी बात है कि यहाँ एजेंडे को लेकर होड़ मची है।
With that, it's time for a quick break here on this edition of Nation at 5. But on the other side, you are going to be watching the biggest build-up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States. It's the big bilateral that's slated for later in the evening. And, of course, the joint session of the Congress that the Prime Minister will be addressing. We'll get you all the inside details on the other side of a quick break. Do stay tuned.
The sentiment within the Indian-American community as far as Prime Minister Modi's state visit is concerned, because remember, he's made those visits in the past as well, but this is his maiden state visit.
Yes, thank you for having me on the show. Well, he's certainly very popular among the Indian-American diaspora. I think that has been true for quite some time, and you can see that sentiment expressed. He's also highly resonant in terms of in him and India in Washington in terms of the policy circles, Congress, the White House, and really all facets of U.S. policy-making circles. So it's both the diaspora and the government and associated figures who are looking forward to what comes out of this for India-U.S. relations.
Right, and when we talk about Prime Minister Modi's popularity with the Indian diaspora, this has witnessed a meteoric rise since 2014, and something that has also been capitalized by not just the Biden government, but also in the past, say in 2019, when we witnessed Donald Trump invite Prime Minister Modi to that Howdy Modi event in Houston. We know that 2019 was again a very pivotal, crucial year for the United States, and we are looking at another pivotal year, which is 2023. We all know both the countries are now expected to go to election next year. But having said that, what will this mean for a year that is so critical for the United States, taking into consideration that the Indian American community is a massive voting bloc now?
Indian Americans are running in presidential elections. We have two candidates, both on the Republican Party side, that have Indian origin, and there have been others before, and there will be doubtlessly many more in the future. So, the Indian American community is among, if not the most successful immigrant communities in the United States at this point. It is more than 4 million strong. It has done extremely well in terms of education and wealth, and it's translating that into political influence. So all in all, this creates a very different sort of a relationship between the US and India, beyond the strategic imperative, which is what is driving India and the US to converge for 20 years. This is adding a dimension of people-to-people ties, and indeed Indian Americans were present, very much present in the political sphere of the United States, in the policy-making sphere, in the technocratic sphere, in the corporate sphere, and so forth.
In fact, as we speak, Sarang, we are also learning that Prime Minister Modi will be attending a very important event which is going to be called Skilling for the Future. This event, of course, is going to focus on capacity building, on building better skills for a labour force that is very young and also occupied by the Indian Americans in a sizable population as far as the labour force in the United States is concerned. How much rests upon this event for the Indian American community, not just in the United States, and also for those Indians who are looking forward to going to the US? Remember, there's also a big hurdle as far as the H-1B visa issue is concerned.
So I'm told that there will be progress on the visa issue. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. But that's something I think the US side has taken up. And we know the challenges there, and there's a sentiment at the moment in the US that is not very favorable to immigration. But nevertheless, the point being made by many Indians and those who understand, the dynamics of this, is that this really benefits both sides. That you have sort of skills that the US needs for its own growth in the future. It has its own, here in the US, we have our own challenges, and we do need to up the game, if you will, in terms of technology, education, skilling. And of course, India has that challenge as well, has many skilled service employees that can be absorbed, but can also work here. So together, this model is not new, but the point is to continue it, and it really is a win-win. So having the domestic sensitivities have to be taken into account. There's no question. India does that on trade. So the US naturally will do it on immigration, and that has to be expected. But even if you account for that, if you do the Venn diagram, there is enough there in common that both countries can benefit from.
Right, and when you talk about that mutual benefit, and there's also the labour force, and that is also when we talk about skilling for the future. We are looking at a time where the inroads have already been made by artificial intelligence. Could this also pose a threat to the existing labour force in both the markets, whether it is India or the United States?
Yeah, so I think that's what I was referring to, that there are sensitivities on immigration that are politically the reality, and those have to be taken into account. The United States government here is answerable to its own people, as it should be, and likewise on the Indian side. So, but that doesn't mean that there cannot be a commonality. So one has to find that sweet spot in the middle that benefits both sides and yet preserves the concerns that each domestic constituencies on each side might have. And I think the two sides are quite committed to working out progress in that direction. There are a number of areas in which we're expecting announcements. This is hopefully one of them.
Thanks to you, Sarang, for joining in. I'm sure you can hear the audio. It speaks volumes of Prime Minister's popularity within the Indian diaspora, which has sort of witnessed this kind of meteoric rise. Before we delve into topics of foreign policy and geopolitics, let's also...
Welcome back. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his US state visit. We are going to be seeing the big bilateral today. But the Prime Minister has now just about taken to social media, where he's thanked the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and the First Lady, Jill Biden, for the hospitality that was accorded to him yesterday. Remember, this tweet that the Prime Minister has now put out comes in the wake of the private dinner that was hosted by the Bidens for the Prime Minister at the White House yesterday. Abhishek, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details of the Prime Minister. And it is going to be a busy day for the Prime Minister today, Abhishek. But the Prime Minister there putting out the highlights of what his day yesterday looked like, and that involved the intimate private dinner that was hosted by the Bidens for him.
Of course, these are the highlights of the visit when Prime Minister Modi had a chance to informally interact with Biden and his immediate family members. We know that the dinner hosted by Biden was a gala event where not only Biden's family but probably more than 400 people were present as an invitee because earlier Joe Biden had said that there is a keen interest from people in USA to be part of that reception where Prime Minister Modi will be extended a state, state honor as a visiting dignitary. And we have seen what kind of dishes were given or served that we have already discussed. But apart from that, the chemistry between the two leaders could also be seen when they were chatting. They were frankly, talking. There were moments of laughter and joy. Also, Prime Minister Modi gifted a 7.5 carat diamond to Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife, and the First Lady of USA, and to President Biden. Also, Prime Minister Modi had gifted the Danam box made of sandalwood that was specially sourced from Karnataka and Mysore. And also, President Biden had been given a gift from Prime Minister Modi of Upanishads that was written by Ajit. Ajit is a poet who has been a very famous poet and who has been a favorite poet of Joe Biden also. So clearly, a very personal touch was given to the gift and the exchanges that has happened between Prime Minister Modi and President Joe Biden also.
The bonhomie between the two leaders is what was on display, and that's exactly what this video that the Prime Minister has put out also goes on to show. For the moment, thank you so much, Abhishek, for getting us the latest on that. There is more news that is trickling in, though, as far as Prime Minister Modi's US visit is concerned. It's a big boost to people-to-people connect between the United States and India. We're now learning that the US is going to throw open 2 new consulates in Bengaluru and Ahmedabad, while India is going to be establishing a mission in Seattle. Details are finalized, of course, during this official state visit that has come to the fore now. Siddharth, my colleague, getting us more details. Siddharth, something similar was witnessed in Australia as well when the Prime Minister was there not too long ago. New consulates being opened in both countries. Similar pattern being witnessed with the United States as well.
Well, US perhaps has the largest mission in the country, and perhaps the oldest mission in the country, one of the oldest missions in the country. And in fact, if they have agreed to expand the mission by opening 2 new consulates, it only establishes that how much, to what degree the US wants to engage with India, or perhaps do things with India. Now, India has also responded by opening a new consulate in Seattle. So now in India, US is going to have, they already have 4 existing consulates along with the embassy in New Delhi. Now they're going to have 2 more. So in total, there's going to be 6 consulates of United States of America in India. And interestingly, the one is going to be in Ahmedabad. The one is going to get open in Ahmedabad. Now there are 2 primary reasons to it. One, the interest of the power of Gujarati community in diaspora in US. I mean, that is one of the reasons. The second and the most important one is that many US multinationals have shown interest in investments in Gujarat. And also, the Macron, the CEO of Prime Minister Modi met the CEO of Macron today, this morning. And perhaps, there's also a possibility of Macron setting up a unit in Ahmedabad, perhaps for the semiconductor test and mapping. So, there are a lot of meaning when it comes to expansion of mission. And it also talks about the growing importance of India in the minds of US foreign policy makers, and how important India is for United States and is going to be for United States in the next decade. Back to you.
Absolutely. The ties between the 2 countries have only gone from being stable to being strengthened, and that's really the message that India carries, that the Indian Prime Minister carries. Siddharth, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that. But the all-important bilateral meeting is coming up later tonight between the Prime Minister. Before that, of course, we are going to be seeing a ceremonial welcome for Prime Minister Modi at the White House lawns yesterday. And these images that you see on your screens are from a private dinner that the Bidens hosted Today, we're going to be seeing a state dinner for the Prime Minister, considering he's on his first official state visit to the United States. But let's get you as far as what's on agenda for the Prime Minister when he sits down with President Joe Biden for that all-crucial bilateral. Later this night, we are going to be seeing that bilateral meeting take place between the two leaders. There's a restricted engagement just for the two leaders, and then there is going to be a larger delegation-level talks as well. There is a lot on agenda as far as this meeting goes. Yes, boosting our ties is important, but there are key focus areas that both the countries have looked at. One, of course, is that of defense. The GE F414 engine deal, that is something that has already been sealed. The MQ-9 drone Predator deal as well is something that could be signed during this particular visit. There's also an upgrade of the M777 Striker howitzers. That is also something that India is eyeing. The cooperation between the two countries in the defense sector is going to be of utmost importance for both the countries. Another focus area for both the countries is going to be cooperation in the space sector. ISRO and NASA have already joined hands. They've decided that they are going to be jointly looking forward to the 2024 mission. India, in fact, has also joined the Artemis Accords for space exploration. It is something that the United States has for a grouping with which it wants to cultivate space exploration through the decades to come together. There are several other countries that are part of this particular pact with the United States, India being the latest one. Another focus area for the two leaders is going to be that on mineral security. We're now learning that both countries, India and United States, are going to be sharing technology as far as mining and extraction of crucial minerals is concerned. That is something that the Prime Minister is going to focus on. As far as the telecom sector goes, we're learning that both countries are trying to find a common ground, find cooperation for open radio access networks. There's already talk about it. There are several companies in India that are already in partnership or looking for a partnership with counterparts in the United States. That is something that could be getting impetus in this particular bilateral as well. And the one big focus area as far as expats, as far as the diaspora is concerned, is that of visas. Remember, there was a lot of controversy over the H-1B visa. The renewal process has been a mess, especially after the 3 years of COVID. We're now learning that an easy process is going to be implemented. Those terms are going to be perhaps changed. They are going to be ironed out as far as renewal of work visas for skilled labor is concerned. That is something both leaders are going to be eyeing. The defense sector, of course, being the biggest and the most significant aspect of what this bilateral meeting is going to be holding. Listen in to some reactions coming in from the side of the United States.
I think when you look at the kinds of things that the two leaders will be discussing over the next couple of days, you'll see it's very future focused because this is going to be a defining partnership for the next 10, 15 years at least.
The state dinner is always about politics. How would you define the goal of this, getting this relationship closer on a personal level?
Well, I would point you to what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days, but you'll see from defense cooperation, cyber, space, resilient supply chains, climate change. I could go on and on. It's all about improving and deepening this bilateral relationship with India. It really is a forward-looking, future-focused discussion.
What role India should play in the world stage and in the region?
It's not for us to say what role they should play. Let's talk about the role that they are playing. They're already exporting security in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond, and they are contributing to the Indo-Pacific Quad. We are participating with India in the I2U2. I think you understand that that's a multilateral arrangement for the Middle East. So India is a world player and a net exporter of security and stability, and we look forward to deepening that and seeing that continue to prosper.
This visit, it celebrates the U.S.-India partnership as one of the most important bilateral relationships that we have in the 21st century. And this is about our partnership and deepening our relationship with India. And after years of strengthening ties, the U.S.-India partnership is deeper and more expansive than it's ever been. We now work cooperatively to uphold a free and open Indo-Pacific. We drive innovation and jointly tackle global challenges. Together, we're working with other like-minded partners. Our countries will shape the future, working towards a world that is open, prosperous, secure, stable, and resilient. And I know the Secretary, the President are very much looking forward to engaging with Prime Minister Modi.
Now, it's not just the bilateral that we're looking forward to this evening. There's also the address of the Prime Minister to a joint sitting of the US Congress. Now, let's take you through why this is historic, why this is significant. Now, addressing the US Congress is a standard procedure, is a standard part of many visits of foreign leaders to the United States. But Prime Minister Modi is going to be the first Indian Prime Minister to address the joint session twice. He's done so once in 2016 under the leadership of President Obama as well. Now, a session that is called just for a foreign leader to address them is generally only reserved for the closest allies of the United States. Democrats and Republicans are going to be hearing Prime Minister's vision. In fact, two of the congressmen had actually urged the Speaker to invite the Prime Minister, based on which the invitation was extended for him to be addressing this joint session. The vision about Indian-American ties is something that we are going to be looking at, and what we're learning is an influential Indian-American congressman, Sri Thanedar, is going to be escorting the Prime Minister to this particular session, where he is going to be speaking of the vision, the ties between the two countries, and what lies ahead for us. Managing Editor Zaka Jacob joining us here on this broadcast from Washington, D.C. Zaka, you're right outside the White House, where all the action is going to begin in just a short while from now.
I'm inside the White House. I guess it's one of the parts of, the privileges of the job, that you get access to these famous places and famous people. So this is where it is. This is where we're painting the picture for you. This is inside the White House complex, where in about a couple of hours from now, Prime Minister Modi and President Biden will be arriving here. They will then take part in what is the opening ceremony. That's going to happen on the South Lawns. That's on the other side of the building. And you can see some of the media personnel are being sort of taken away to the South Lawns. But this is where all the action is going to be today. It will start with a ceremonial welcome. The military bands will be playing. There will be a gun salute as well for the Prime Minister. And then that will be followed by delegation-level talks at about 11 o'clock local time. And it will also then culminate with one-on-one talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Biden of the United States. A whole bunch of deals are in the anvil, which are being talked about. You talked about the defense deals. You talked about the critical emerging technologies. I'm given to understand that there will be new consulates that will be open. India will open consulates in Seattle, and America will be opening consulates in Bengaluru as well as in Ahmedabad. So that is another big one. Also, we are told the finer details are still being worked out. There's going to be some big announcement on H-1B, in a way that H-1B visa holders, and there are a lot of them here in the US who are of Indian origin, need not leave the United States, come back to India, or to travel to any third country in order to renew their H-1Bs, in order to get a stamp on their H-1B. So they're working on that deal as well. So a whole bunch of deals are expected to be signed in the next few hours. It'll start in a couple of hours, under 2 hours. 10 o'clock local time is when the ceremonial opening ceremony, as it were, the welcome for the Prime Minister will happen. So I'm going to go in now as all the press pool is being taken into the White House. I'll toss it over back to you and we'll rejoin you shortly.
Zaka, we'll let you go, and we will await all that's happening inside the White House. We are going to be seeing the ceremonial welcome at the White House lawns. We are going to be seeing the bilateral that is being held between the two world leaders, and then, of course, the session of the joint Congress, where the Prime Minister is going to be addressing congressmen and congresswomen for a second time in the last 9 years of his tenure, even though this is his first official state visit to the United States. There are several deals that are on the agenda, a lot of focus areas like we just pointed out, but the state dinner is also something that we will keep an eye out on. The Prime Minister, of course, is going to be addressing the diaspora, as he always does when he is abroad, but that's slated for tomorrow. Today, it's all about the business. The day, of course, ends with the state dinner, like I mentioned, and US President Joe Biden and the First Lady are going to be welcoming the Prime Minister. Remember, they hosted a private dinner yesterday. Today, it's time for the entire delegation to be sitting at the same dinner table. Here's what's in store for the Prime Minister and the Indian delegation.
Did a wonderful marinated millet salad, highlighted with a Maryland silver corn. We're in Maryland as well, so, and also some wonderful compressed watermelon.
With this official state visit, we are bringing together the world's oldest and the world's largest democracies. After years of strengthening ties, the U.S.-India partnership is deep and expansive as we jointly tackle global challenges.
We here on CNN News 18 will keep a track of every development that takes place in Washington, D.C. as the Prime Minister speaks with his counterpart, speaks with the U.S. President when that bilateral happens. Before that is a ceremonial welcome in just a few hours from now. All of that action is going to be right here on CNN News 18. Before now, it's a wrap from my side.
Among, if not the most successful immigrant communities in the United States at this point. It is more than 4 million strong. It has done extremely well in terms of education and wealth, and it's translating that into political influence. So all in all, this creates a very different sort of a relationship between the US and India, beyond the strategic imperative, which is what is driving India and the US to converge for 20 years. This is adding a dimension of people-to-people ties, and indeed, Indian Americans who are present, very much present in the political sphere of the United States, in the policy-making sphere, in the technocratic sphere, in the corporate sphere, and so forth.
In fact, as we speak, Sarang, we are also learning that Prime Minister Modi will be attending a very important event which is going to be called Skilling for the Future. This event, of course, is going to focus on capacity building, on building better skills for a labor force that is very young and also occupied by the Indian Americans in a sizable population as far as the labor force in the United States is concerned. How much rests upon this event for the Indian American community, not just in the United States, and also for those Indians who are looking forward to going to the US? Remember, there's also a big hurdle as far as the H-1B visa issue is concerned.
So I'm told that there will be progress on the visa issue. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. But that's something I think the US side has taken up. And we know the challenges there, and there's a sentiment at the moment in the US that is not very favorable to immigration. But nevertheless, the point being made by many Indians and those who understand, the dynamics of this, is that this really benefits both sides. That you have sort of skills that the US needs for its own growth in the future. It has its own, here in the US, we have our own challenges, and we do need to up the game, if you will, in terms of technology, education, skilling. And of course, India has that challenge as well, has many skilled service employees that can be absorbed, but can also work here. So together, this model is not new, but the point is to continue it, and it really is a win-win. So having the domestic sensitivities have to be taken into account. There's no question. India does that on trade. So the US naturally will do it on immigration, and that has to be expected. But even if you account for that, if you do the Venn diagram, there is enough there in common that both countries can benefit from.
Right, and when you talk about that mutual benefit, and there's also the labor force, and that is also when we talk about skilling for the future. We are looking at a time where the inroads have already been made by artificial intelligence. Could this also pose a threat to the existing labor force in both the markets, whether it is India or the United States?
Yeah, so I think that's what I was referring to, that there are sensitivities on immigration that are politically the reality, and those have to be taken into account. The United States government here is answerable to its own people, as it should be, and likewise on the Indian side. So, but that doesn't mean that there cannot be a commonality. So one has to find that sweet spot in the middle that benefits both sides and yet preserves the concerns that each domestic constituencies on each side might have. And I think the two sides are quite committed to working out progress in that direction. There are a number of areas in which We're expecting announcements. This is hopefully one of them.
Thanks to you, Sarang, for joining in. I'm sure you can hear the audio. It speaks volumes of Prime Minister's popularity within the Indian diaspora, which has sort of witnessed this kind of meteoric rise. Before we delve into topics of foreign policy and geopolitics, let's also take a moment to acknowledge the kind of power soft power has to gain those hard outcomes that the Indian government is trying to, gain as far as, using this as an ice-breaking moment to gain perhaps greater mileage when it comes to strengthening that bilateral relationship between India and the United States is concerned. I want to know from you, Sarang, what has been the sentiment within the Indian American community as far as Prime Minister Modi's state visit is concerned, because remember, he's made those visits in the past as well, but this is his maiden state visit.
Yes, thank you for having me on the show. Well, he's certainly very popular among the Indian American diaspora. I think that has been true for quite some time, and you can see that sentiment expressed. He's also highly resonant in terms of in him and India in Washington in terms of the policy circles, Congress, the White House, and really all facets of U.S. policy-making circles. So it's both the diaspora and the government and associated figures who are looking forward to what comes out of this for India-U.S. relations.
Right, and when we talk about Prime Minister Modi's popularity with the Indian diaspora, this has witnessed a meteoric rise since 2014, and something that has also been capitalized by not just the Biden government, but also in the past, say in 2019, when we witnessed Donald Trump invite Prime Minister Modi to that Howdy Modi event in Houston. We know that 2019 was again a very pivotal, crucial year for the United States, and we are looking at another pivotal year, which is 2023. We all know both the countries are now expected to go to election next year. But having said that, what will this mean for a year that is so critical for the United States, taking into consideration that the Indian American community is a massive voting bloc now?
Indian Americans are running in.
Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching Viewpoint with me, Grihatul Siddiqui. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the United States of America on a state visit, and his first meeting with the Bidens at the White House has set the stage for the formal bilateral talks between the two sides today. In fact, the sit-down private engagement between the Prime Minister and the President is aimed at informal warming up to each other and fixing the nuts and bolts ahead of the official delegation-level talks. After the talks, the two sides are expected to announce a defense industrial cooperation roadmap, a deal on co-producing jet engines for fighter aircraft, and also initiatives on critical and emerging technologies, which will include a roadmap on semiconductors, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and space. In fact, Prime Minister Modi's first public engagement at National Science Foundation, alongside the First Lady Jill Biden, had him emphasize on enhancing US-India partnership in research sector to ensure continuous momentum in growth. He also stated pointers to further the goal of Tech Decade. In the meeting with CEOs of Micron Technology, Applied Materials and General Electric, Modi also encouraged them to invest in India to boost semiconductor. Now remember, Modi and Biden's formal talks, which are first done in a restricted format and usually involves interpreters and note takers, will be followed by full delegation level talks. The two leaders will also make joint press statements after the talks. And not to mention the highlight of the day, Prime Minister Modi's address to the joint session of the Congress, a very first for an Indian and a rare honor for world leaders. In another rarity though, it is being learned that the Prime Minister might just be taking a couple of questions in a press conference.
had an excellent meeting with Prime Minister Modi. Very impressed with the vision that he has for India and the advances that India is making. We look forward to greater opportunities in India. Very much